Hey there! I hope you already have a coffee near you and a notebook because today we're going to learn together and you're going to need it, or at least a notebook. If you ever gone totally blank after you heard, tell me about the time in an interview, then welcome to Product Ed. This is where I'm going to put a camera on the one-on-one coaching calls that I normally do with product managers at all levels, with no paywalls this time, no fancy pitch, just the practical stuff that's actually helped people land roles in fan companies and all sorts of other dream roles, and also ship cleaner releases or get promotions. For a quick snapshot of me, my name is Oana May, and I've built things at big companies. I've launched my own startups, and since I left Meta, I've helped more than 500 product folks at all levels get promotions, get amazing offers, or simply sleep better at night because they knew they were doing the right things. And the same patterns keep popping up, so I thought, why not share them out loud? Today, we're going to focus on a behavioral practice. And the reality is this is not just an interview skills, but my students tell me it also up-leveled their performance and their conversations in their day-to-day job. And I know that learning this skill also helped me. So you're going to get to watch my guest's first draft raw answers with any awkward bits and any ums and pauses. And then you're going to watch how to reshape this answer into something that will make hiring managers lean forward and pause. So copy whatever helps you and apply it. You can apply all of these tips right away. Just remember, there are no magic formulas here. There's practice, there's honest and upfront feedback. And if you get something that helps you from this session, please support my channel and help me get through to more product managers by liking, by subscribing to my channel, by sending it to a friend who needs this help. Or you can also contact me and be part of one of these sessions yourself. So let's figure this product thing out together. That being said, let me introduce today's guest. We have with us Kalyan. I don't think I can even say your full name, but welcome,
No,
Kalyan. It's nice to see you again.
sure. Thank you, Anna, for inviting me. And yeah, it's great to see you. And thanks
Would,
for all the support I got from you.
would you like to give me a very quick overview of where you are in your career? Kind of what have you been doing and what are you working on improving in your career at the moment?
Sure. Hi, Anna. Thank you. Thanks for having this call today. And hey, everyone, I am Kalyan. I've been working in product management for over a decade now. And I have worked both on B2B and B2C product initiatives. I worked on from building AI ML powered recommendation systems, communication tools to driving digital transformations and launching 0 to 1 products. I have worked on everything from basically internal productivity tools to mobile consumer features used by millions of users. One constant theme across these roles has always been using data and real customer needs to drive the decision making. And that involved turning ambiguous problems into structural, scalable solution. Came to product when nobody. So right now, I am focused on 3 key areas. One, influence without authority. Two, networking. And three, keeping myself in forefront of AI transformation. So for influence without authority and networking, what I learned is storytelling is very critical. and I am working on better my storytelling and giving a clear, crisp idea to whoever is my stakeholder and looking at this will help me in getting my end goal. So this is why I want to focus on storytelling as a part of this session.
Well, thank you for putting yourself out there and putting your kind of vulnerability out there by trying out a behavioral type mock interview live for people to see how a coaching session goes and what can be improved because nobody's perfect. And by all means, it's been a few months since you've last done an
Yeah.
interview, I guess. Um,
Yes.
and hopefully there are some imperfections because maybe you've forgotten some things. So because of those, we're going to also help the audience learn, and that'll be fantastic.
Sure. Yeah. I'm rusty. Not practiced interview for a very long time. So yeah, I will give my
Great.
best.
No, it's awesome. And thank you again for being brave and for supporting this project.
Sure.
Um, before we get started, now that everyone got to see a little bit about who you are, I want to ask you a couple of questions about our work together, because you've worked with me before. So I wanted to know what you learned from working with me that helped you the most. Can you tell me in a couple of words?
Yeah, sure. So one thing I want to call out is the positive reinforcements, right? One of the things which differentiates you a lot is when you approach a feedback, you don't just approach, oh, this is wrong. You approach in a way how things can be improved, right? That was a huge differentiator for me. Instead of listening, oh, I'm doing this wrong, I'm doing that bad, you're always go first about, okay, you said this, will you be able to say like this, or can you say like this, right? This will expand the storyline or the experience like 50% more, 100% more. I think that was a huge differentiator which I liked working with you, and that helped me on the long run.
Awesome. And if you were to just overall describe me, my methods as a coach in a couple of words, how would you describe them?
Oh, I think the Oana method is quite powerful, and everybody talks about it. Whoever has worked with you and everybody who doesn't work with you also talk about that. I think your method of breaking down the problem and solving it feels very simple. Like everybody will say in product management or engineering, oh, break down the problem and do it, but it's not actually that simple. It's not when because the problems are sometimes vague. You don't know how you're going in, but breaking down the problem, it's not just about interview, but also in your real life exposure. I think your Oana method of doing that how you can break down the problem, how you can experience each of the things as a user and tell that storyline to the interviewer or the other person or your stakeholder, that is one of the main big differentiator.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Just one more question. Um, what was the hardest challenge that you say working with me helped you overcome?
Oh, the hardest challenge working with you was your focus on the details sometimes made me feel like, oh man, I think I'm perfect, but I'm still not getting that strong hair or the higher thing because Oana is very strict on that front. So I think that was the hardest challenge, but it was a good challenge, right? That helped you go like become a bar raiser at the end of the day. It may feel a
Oh,
long road, but yeah, you will not suffer at the end. That's what.
okay. Thank you for telling everyone how I tortured you.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you got where you got and that we got to work together and that we know each other. And exactly what you were saying, networking matters and knowing the right people in the right places at the right time matters. So, how about we start doing a couple of behavioral questions? And I will choose some behavioral questions related to networking, to maintaining a network, and see how you answer them.
Good. Thank you.
How do you manage a complex stakeholder? environment in your role?
Sure. Give me a moment. Let me think
Sure.
about a situation like that. So, let me tell you about a time when I didn't compromise between quality and customer service to develop a customer success platform from scratch to improve ARR by $55 million. So, while I was a senior product manager at Chief, which is a social networking and community platform for women leaders, Chief basically helps with social events, coaching, and support of C executives and VPs. I was responsible for building the backend platform ecosystem to power both their B2B and B2C member facing businesses. Um, the problem that Chief was facing was the customer experience was crippled. The customer success team was basically struggling with inefficiencies in like their internal tools and processes, which were causing a lot of delays. There was complete coordination missing between like multiple business team, which created a void. Members were getting impacted as our CSAT was below 5% and our retention was under 20%. Uh, and Chief was hemorrhaging cash as they downed in like tech debt, messy data, which crippled the whole customer experience. So my task was to basically build a customer success strategy to elevate my business stakeholders' manual burden and create a delightful customer experience. But with that, always it comes a problem of challenge with my stakeholders because as there were multiple different stakeholders involved from finance, customer experience team, and everything, they were not ready to let go of the existing legacy processes they follow because they always feel bringing in a new system creates a lot of havoc, changes, they have to learn, they have to do. So there was a huge pushback on that forefront. So so I took the approach first to analyze, strategize, and execute. So first, what I did was I started shadowing the CX team or customer experience team basically to learn about their daily activities and pain points in depth. Simultaneously, I collaborated with my member research and marketing teams for like member research sessions to understand their pain points with the existing system. I also collaborated with engineering to understand their pain points, worked on member request myself to see what is coming in, what is going out, which give me an exposure to all the departments like the finance team, the customer experience members, and even the engineering. Uh, my three takeaways from there was the first was backend data management. The company had no way to track a member's journey efficiently, and data was scattered with no proper visibility. Even there was no proper segmentation, and integrations were missing, like with siloed architecture. Number two was basically there were multiple different applications, and my business stakeholders, including like customer experience, legal, member experience, sales, all these uses seven different applications to track a member journey, costing the company over $400,000 in license and maintenance. Uh, a single action, like I found a single action while I was shadowing, was taking at least 10 clicks to perform. And the third was our members were missing ROI. So members had no easy way to track their ROI from Chief, as well as no self-service option, which was impacting the CSAT as well as the retention. So once I found those things, second, I started working with design and engineering to brainstorm ways to solve the problem. And my plan involved one, backend improvement, work on creating a better microservice architecture to drive proper data management. Second was one screen view, prioritizing visibility of all applications or all customer data from different apps into one screen, which will reduce the click by around 70%. And third was member experience. So for that, like creating a superior member experience in both web and mobile, where the members can benefit in experiencing chief and like track their ROIs, which helped me to build a better strategy and roadmap to build a CRM tool. And with this data driven approach, I was also able to convince my leadership as well as also to my stakeholders who were very much against doing that stuff or changing a system. This also opened the scope of reducing the applications our business teams were using, because when I showed them these problems and this is the path forward, they were like, oh, can we take out these applications? Uh, but due to the urgency to fix the CSAT and retention with having limited resources, I had to trade off and prioritize launching the front end of the application first with old data architecture, and then engineering will complete the back end work slowly and migrate our existing legacy application out to our new platform. So third, I started working with a team of designer engineers to build the MVP of this tool. I also worked with front-end engineers to revamp our content management to improve the user experience for web and mobile applications. And I worked with each individual like business teams to teach them to create better clarity on mission and deliverables, right? How they want to do it at all. In the meantime, to encourage quick adoption of the new tool within our internal stakeholders, I started conducting live trainings for all my business stakeholders or internal stakeholders. The impact was visible in 4 months. The CSAT grew by 60%, uh, with retention directly impacted by growth of 35%, which translated to over $55 million in ARR. Uh, some secondary metrics I was able to capture was like 45% of the platform software licensing expenses, which was around $400K initially, came down to 140. It means had a savings of actually $180,000 per year. But the learning from this work was to bring in multiple different stakeholders with very different complex requirements under one vision, and not just fix one issue but focus on building a better ecosystem for a long run. So basically short term goal, long term goal. It was a very much showing off of fail fast attitude among the teams to achieve the goal faster. So yeah, if you have any questions on that or any feedback.
Great. Well, thank you, Kalyan. You've done this after a while. You still got it. It's the answer made sense. There was a story to it, and what I particularly liked is that um you put that drama in there. You talked about like how important this was and what kind of dramatic consequences it had for your customers. This is very important to highlight when you tell a story as a product manager. Also, potentially how important it is for the business, or what the consequences would be if you wouldn't be able to resolve this problem. That's the good part. Now I'm going to go into breaking it down, like you said, and going into those details that would have made it even better. So the first thing is that you remember in the Oana method, I have theoretical questions and example questions.
Yep.
This was the theoretical question. And what I mean by theoretical questions
Yeah.
for the viewers who don't know this is when you get generic questions like, how do you approach this? What do you think about this? Um, how have you historically dealt with this type of situation? What kind of leadership style do you have? These types of generic questions. I like to recommend starting with a relatively generic answer, which I call the theoretical answer, in which, very high level, just in a few sentences, you talk through 3 points that you would focus on in order to resolve that problem in general. So, for example, in this case, it was about managing a complex stakeholder environment. So then you could talk about, let's say, 3 points on how you manage, in general, this type of complex stakeholder environment. You prioritize customer outcomes, first of all, then you structure your communication in a certain way, and then The third thing could be that you simplify through aligned decision-making principles. For example, that could be a way, right? And then you move into your example by confirming with the interviewer that they want to hear an example, actually. And if you use the link hook, like I usually advise with kind of linking to the theoretical answer, linking to the topic of the question, and also mentioning the project and the impact that you had with it, then it'll become appealing and interesting for the interviewer to hear that example. And then you tell them that example. And your example was really cool. So an interviewer would definitely benefit from it. Now, when it comes to the example itself, the way that you've presented it was primarily about the project, not primarily about the complex stakeholder environment. You did mention throughout your project that you had this complex stakeholder environment, and you did mention things that you did in order to manage this complex stakeholder environment. But my recommendation would have been to put them the other way around. So basically making the management of the complex stakeholder environment the star of your answer, and your project would take a second role. It'll still be there because everything that you've done, you'll mention it. But it's just about formulating that answer around that topic primarily, not bringing that topic into your project. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally makes sense. And when you are saying that, now it hits my mind. Like, oh yes, I should have done that. But for the story, yeah, I didn't had anything in mind at that point. But now, if I think, I know which story I would have said. Like, if you had asked me 4 or 5 months back, what story I would have said for that. But yeah, it's just coming back on my mind. Yeah. But the first
Well,
part, it was really helpful. I didn't focus on your question, that it was more of theoretical, and I focused on putting that answer forward.
well, it's awesome that you're not as um, good at interviewing skills as you were a few months ago, because this gives our viewers the opportunity
Yeah.
to learn as well. Because if you had given me a perfect example, then what could I have talked about, right?
No, it's true. And I think interview is a lot about practice, right? The more
Yes,
you practice, the more you get better, the
absolutely.
more you understand the vibe of it.
Absolutely. And I see that if you don't interview, if you don't practice, even myself, if I wouldn't practice, or if I don't practice, let's say I want to have an interview, if I don't practice beforehand, I'm not going to be that good either, because you forget your examples, you forget what you've done, you forget your memories, because those memories just go in the back of our mind. But by practicing, they're alive, they are in the forefront of your mind, and you can bring them in and use them. But so overall, your story was really cool. It was just the way that it was formulated. It wasn't primarily about the topic of the question. That's
I
all.
get it.
That's the
Yeah,
biggest.
yeah, I think I totally missed that front part, and that's like the mistakes, right? What you do when you are interviewing. I didn't differentiate between what versus tell me about a time.
Mhm.
That part of the difference which I didn't do it. So yeah,
But this is
I
also
totally.
a good reminder, because whenever you communicate with stakeholders as well, just remembering what their real question is and focusing the information on what they're interested to hear about as the core of your answers and the core of your presentations as well. And then bringing in the information from whatever your project is, or your pitch is, or things like that.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's a good point.
Do you want to do another question?
Sure, we have time.
All right. I'm also going to ask about managing stakeholders. Tell me about a time when someone challenged your leadership.
Let me tell you about a time when I faced a lot of pushback and escalation from my stakeholders, but was able to convince them and get our CSAT. grow by 70% to improve retention. So while I was working as a senior product manager at one of a social networking company, I was working on developing the ecosystem around customer experience and customer support solutions. Uh, the company was facing with a critical issue of steady rise in like customer incidents to updates like update profile, events, calendars, and other very action based but L1 kind of level one kind of tickets. And it's level one, not priority one, just to clarify. So this slowed the company's customer success team's response time, which caused a lot of frustration and churn among the members. Um, these reported tickets were simple request, but immediate action was required, and that was very resource intensive, right? Our CSAT went down by around 10% at that point. So, recognizing the need for a strategic solution, what I did was I took the initiative to develop and implement a solution to reduce the number of incidents. The business wanted a simple knowledge base and FAQ based system to trim down the tickets and act as a funnel. So, basically, if we create a FAQ based system, what the leadership wanted or the business wanted was the goal was our customers or our members will go into that FAQ based system, read through it, see if they can do it by themselves or then raise a ticket. So creating like a funnel approach. However, when I was looking at the problem, I saw the complex nature of these issues. Like traditional methods like knowledge bases or FAQs are not a long-term or scalable strategy. So business's idea was also very resource intensive and was impacting the total cost of the project because we will need more support at that time. So I needed a more innovative approach. And when I proposed to create a scalable, stable solution to my customer success team, they did a big pushback. And this even got escalated to my CEO and the CTO. So I then took a step back to understand the main pain points, like what's driving this requirement. And I approached it in three phases. First, understanding why my customer success team is so against creating an automated solution. Second, planning a strategy to solve. And third was to then implement the solution. So first, I started investigating why my customer success team was so much against anything except knowledge base. What I found out was one biggest thing, fear of losing control over member interaction. So my customer success team was apprehensive about losing control over how they interact with the members if it gets automated, and they feel their main role of doing that is shrinking. That brought to the second point of concerns over job security. The customer success team feared that the introducing scalable solution could make their roles redundant or significantly alter their responsibilities. They viewed automation as a like a potential threat to their job security. And third was reluctance towards engineering dependency. The team expressed a preference for like reactive resource intensive solutions like FAQ, which they felt are more predictable and manageable without heavy reliance on engineering, because our automated solution will need lot of support. Any enhancement have to go to the engineering and it will delay their implementation. So second, as I understood the main issues for the pushback and the controversy, I focused on my end customers, the members, and I did a research on what their pain point is and what they want. I also worked with the engineering to do a POC on a couple of self-service solutions in the market. So from my findings, one, I started by educating my customer success team on their primary role to work on success of our members and not just act as a support mechanism that solving their just when the request comes solve the tickets. Showing the results from member feedback, which was more about they want the power to control a lot of stuff instead of always sending an email or calls. I was able to make sure my customer success team understand members want to be more proactive communication to show the ROI rather than being only focused on solving the problem. Second was I reiterated that my self-service solution, which I introduced, will only solve the huge load of support work from customer success team. However, the team needs to be held accountable on user communication, identifying pain points, and drive retention. So at the end of the goal, being proactive. And third, I made sure all my stakeholders is onboarded that we will not build a complex solution. Instead, go on buying a SaaS solution, which we will integrate with our platform, and customer success can customize as they want. So that helped me to make customers success buy-in by as they understood the importance of moving out of the knowledge-based solution, look for self-service tools, and understood what our members are looking for. So based on the solution research with the engineering team, customer success and design, I decided to implement a Gen AI based self-service solution, which can do all the required tasks, improve and be scalable over time. As a trade-off, I proposed because it was already escalated to my CEO and CTO, right? And I just cannot say, oh, everybody's on board and do that. So I proposed an MVP to do just one use case to show the value of the solution. It will be a quicker to test, very much fail fast attitude because it's a small startup that helped me to get the buy-in from CEO and CTO on the proposed solution. Third, I spearheaded the cross-functional team, collaborated with engineers, data scientists, and UX designers to shape the vision. I worked with the team to meticulously train the AI models on a vast data sets of support tickets and FAQs. User experience was very important here, so the self-service interface was meticulously designed for intuitive navigation and very ease of use. Once the MVP was deployed, I was able to show the positive adoption of our MVP by our members, which was 7,000 members using it in 5 days, where our actual target was 5,000 members onboarding into that new tool in 2 weeks span. That helped me secure like an immediate buy-in from the stakeholders and as well as leadership. The When the whole solution was impacted, the impact was immediate and significant basically. So within months, our action driven tickets dropped by staggering 90%. The CSAT grew, the resolution increased by 75%. The customer support team was able to focus on more proactive engagement, which showed a 15% increase in our overall retention. So success of this project actually makes me embrace working with cutting edge technology, finding smarter solution by being empathetic to my stakeholders. My learning was also how I was able to partner and collaborate with different stakeholders who were very much against the plan, but solve the conflicts with results of data driven approach and also being flexible to pivot based on continuous iterations. Uh, I'm happy to answer any questions or if you have any feedback.
Great answer. Actually, I think you brought your A game back. You you remembered your practice and your great stories that landed you the Amazon job. After all, right? This
Thank
was
you.
really good. There are still some improvements. Of course, there are improvements. They're very small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through what you did really well first, because there are a lot of things that I would like to highlight that the audience probably doesn't identify exactly. So what you did is you started with what I call a hook. And that hook is basically telling the interviewer how a project and an amazing result links to the question that they asked. So you started with that hook and then you moved into the handshake. The handshake is just basically introducing yourself. Introduce who you were, what your role was, what the company was at the time. So you built that picture, and then you started talking about the problem. What was the problem that you were trying to solve, and then the challenge with your leadership that happened, and the difficulties that you found with the customer service team. It was very, very put together. Again, you added drama, and your storytelling style is very compelling. It makes it attractive. even though it ended up being long, your answer, it was exciting and interesting. So it probably didn't feel that long for most people, and probably wouldn't feel that long for an interviewer, which is what matters. Of course, you can reduce it to up to maybe 5 minutes ish, but your storytelling style was really good. Also, your actions show empathy with your colleagues. Yes, and you structure them really well. You started by telling me that you're going to walk me through the 3 steps that you have taken to resolve this situation, and what those 3 steps are. And then you signposted really well when you moved from one step to another. So everything was very clear. And from an operational point of view, you showed empathy. You looked to understand the deeper causes of the problems and how to help address them and how to help make their team successful as well in the process. So all of that shows great product management traits. What I would have also improved in this answer was to make more use of the keywords in the question, because you started with them, but then you kind of forgot them. You stayed on topic, but bring those keywords, the same words that are used in the question, to bring them in occasionally throughout your answer. Because what happens is the interviewers have really long and difficult days, and they keep hearing lots and lots of answers, and they know these keywords, they know the questions that they ask. And sometimes, as they get so tired, sometimes their mind will wander. But if you use those keywords occasionally, it's much easier to bring them back, capture their attention again in a non-intrusive way, in a comfortable way, and in a way that resonates with what matters for them. And the other thing that I had here in my notes that you can improve is to share a learning at the end. To make a habit to share a learning at the end. I'm sure you learned something from this project. Share it with the interviewer. The reason why it's good to share a learning, there are 3 reasons actually. First, it's because it shows that you're always learning and growing. So you show up as a professional that never misses an opportunity to learn from successes, from failures, from any type of activities. You learn something, and you know that you learn, so you can talk about what you learned. That's very important. The second reason is that oftentimes you will get this question, what would you have done better? And whether we know it or not, our subconscious brain works. And simply by allowing the interviewer to make it sound like it wasn't good enough, the subconscious mind can work things around in ways that we can't control. And they can get a negative bias towards you. A very small one is not going to be groundbreaking, but it's going to be a very small one that will be added on top of potentially other things in their subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind actually makes a lot more decisions than our conscious mind does. We don't even know about that. So if we can preempt that in a positive way, that'll be much better. And the third reason is that I've seen quite a few companies starting to ask for answers to be delivered in the star with double R format. And the star with double R format is basically the STAR method, and then finishing up with reflection. So reflection is a learning. So this is the feedback that I have. Overall, as I said, this answer was really good. You definitely remembered a lot of what you prepared for your Amazon interviews. And, I actually remember how sometimes you were even concerned about what potential role you're going to land, and going through all sorts of questioning yourself like that. But with an answer like this, of course, you're going to land a role in a company like Amazon because the story was strong, your experience was strong, the delivery was strong, and the recommendations that I shared would only make it even better.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you are spot on, right? With the timing, yeah, I know it's practice. Again, I will tell everyone who will be watching this, practice makes your timing better. So that's one thing. And with the learning, yeah, that's a good call out, right? Connecting and learning. And I found that in my Amazon interview also, like in one of the stories, during the interview, I told the story, I forgot a learning. I got a question. What was your learning from here? Would you have done something different, right? So yeah, anybody preparing for Amazon interview, I will say that yeah, of course, add the learning. Other companies, yes, maybe add the learning. It's always a good practice to do that.
Well, awesome. It looks like you have done well. And I think also your example is a great example for people who are interviewing and looking for that amazing job. Because I still remember a conversation when you said you were disappointed about some interview not going
Yeah.
well. And I said, look, there's something better waiting for you out there. So,
It makes sense. Yes, disappointment is a what I learned is yeah, disappointment is a part of the game and in this market and everything, but it's just that you have to hit that one target. That's what matters. But yeah.
yeah, you had your target focused in your mind, and that interview not going well is what got you to where you are. So,
Yeah, 100%.
and of course, all of the work that you put in and all of the prep. So well done again for everything that you've done. And again, thank you so much for coming to demonstrate um, and to help others learn, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ola.
So before we close, I have one question for you. What do you think you learned or you were reminded of in our session today that will be beneficial towards achieving your targets?
Yeah, I think the first word is which came to my mind is keep practicing. It's not just for practicing for interview, but practicing this makes your real job also much easier because it gives you always that idea of how can you be crisp in your storytelling. And being a product manager, storytelling is very, very important. So I think that's very big learning. Second thing is, yeah, I got to relive a lot of the things from what I went through last year. So that's a good thing for me and maybe able to help some people who are really looking for support to get into product management or get a job. So yeah, I think those are the two main things.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're taking something away from it. I'm going to ask you to give one more thing before we close. And that is a question for the next person. So I want to ask each of the guests that we do these coaching sessions with to leave a question that I should ask the next person. So give me an interview question that I should ask the next person.
Like a interview behavioral based scenario interview.
What do you want? Any interview question, and then I will find someone who will practice that type of interview and we'll work on that.
Oh, that's a tricky. Yeah, one thing is which I asked like, and it's more of a product sense question, and I got
Okay.
that question. So it is more like think about a product feature, anything you use on a daily basis, and you want to improve it. How will you approach on improving that item or the product or that feature?
That's a great question and very interesting because it will also show us something that someone else may be using on a daily basis, or something interesting that maybe we can learn from them. So thank you for that question. Maybe this will also motivate you to be curious to see what they will answer when I ask that question in the
Yes.
next session.
Sure.
Great. Thank you again, Kalyan. It was really a pleasure to have you here. And I look forward to seeing all of the cool things that you're going to build in Amazon from now on. And I know, like if I'm annoyed with Amazon deliveries, can I just email you? Yeah. I'm joking. All right. Thank you again. Remember, if something clicks for you, if you found this session helpful, please also pay it forward. Kindness is free. Share this with someone who's job seeking or who just needs help better strengthening their storytelling. Or you can also contact me and attend one of these sessions yourself and help me share those learnings with others. And of course, it would be really, really great if you would support this channel by liking this video, by commenting or subscribing to my channel. And this way you will also see when I post the next videos. If you want to ask me any questions, please do so in the comments, and I will try my best to answer those questions or introduce them maybe in one of my next videos. So let's level up together.